Well, it's 1976. I'm laying in bed and I'm kind of reflecting on my life. Uh, in 1970, when I bought the cab, I actually went out and really worked it. I'm talking about 7 days a week, 12, 13 hours a day without taking a day off for 3 years. But then things started to change. Larry had bought a cab too with us. This was in about 1972. And he started going out, but all of a sudden we started meeting each other at about 12, 1 o'clock and going to Ovington to have a few drinks, talk, unwind, and we started playing cards there, either right at the bar or at the tables. The same old guys that were there way back with my father was amazing, and they were easy pickings. I started actually making my living right there. I didn't even have to work the cab anymore. I'm talking about by the week. I was making more at the bar than I was driving a cab. But tonight, for some reason, well, I had put bowling really out of my mind. I'm very good at that. I have very good mind control. Hadn't even walked into the lanes in 10 years, but for whatever reason, I was thinking back to this match I had with Gene Jacobs at Quentin Lanes when I really blew a good opportunity. We had been over, I think it was Larry and Paul. We were in Cousins across the street on Coney Island Avenue, having some burgers, and then we were going to go out and check out a few different lanes to see what action was around. We leave Cousins at about 11 o'clock or so, and right across the street is Quentin. We said, let's go in there. They said, there's no action. Hey, you never know. We walk in, and this guy, Gene Jacobs, was there. I walked over, and it so happens that he owns the place. I didn't know him. Marty Stoop, Marty Green. He originally was out of Quentin. This is where he learned to bowl, and he used to bowl some good action years ago before he went into the Army. But I asked Gene if they ever had any action there, and he said he'd bowl me. Go, okay. Now, Gene has a reputation. He ran everything from slot machines to vending machines all down the East Coast down into the South. And he made a lot of money from that. He owned a bowling alley, and from what I hear, he used to be a decent bowler years ago. Now he had kind of a pot belly. I said, good. I mean, yeah, let's do it. Now, for whatever reason, I had never bowled at Quentin before, even though it's right there in the neighborhood. We got up there, and well, Gene at best was, at this point in his life, about a 175, 180. I mean, he didn't have a chance against me. I wiped him out. I mean, he went in, he emptied out the register, beat him about 8 games in a row. A sizable hit, let me tell you, about $2,500, maybe up to $3,000. But here's where I made my big mistake. He asked to bowl me on credit then. I just said, Gene, and he had been a gentleman all night, and he still was. I said, Gene, I really never bowl on credit. He goes, okay, no problem. Well, it ends up he takes us out for breakfast across the street to Cousins, and a really, really nice guy, let me tell you. But the next day, I see Stoop at Avenue M, and I'm about to tell him about my big night with Gene Jacobs, and what does he know? What does he know about Gene? He goes, he said, you blew it. You blew a chance of a lifetime. He goes, Gene couldn't beat you at this point in his life if he stood on his head, and yet he would have went for 10 grand, and it would have been good as gold. You would have had the money this morning in cash. I already spoke to him. Hey, he's a good friend of mine, and I set him straight. Gene will never bowl you again. So that really made me feel good. But that's my Gene Jacobs story.